Service recovery management. This is what the topic for today's videos is all about it. We will be talking about service recovery. Why does service recovery has to be done? Because there is a service failure. And what is meant by service failure? Service failure is anything where a customer is not being served the way he or she is expected to, perhaps according to his or her expectation, or perhaps according to the standards set by organization. So that is what service failure is all about it. Hoffman and Bateson, way back in 1997, found that service failure is service performance that fails to meet the service customer expectation. 2001, Max Ham defined failure as any service related mishaps or problem, perhaps real, perhaps perceived, during a customer experiences with the interactions with the firm. That is what service failure is all about. It is what was expected was not being served. What was a failure is basically an incident or a problem which was not to the taste of either of the customers or of the organization. So let us try to address why there is a service failure. Because there's a flaw in the core system. The outcome was not to the standards. There was a flaw in the delivery system. Probably the process, the way it was done, was not according to the standard. Or what is the flaw in the process system? Maybe the delivery time was taking too long. What was the flaw in the outcome? Probably the product or the ambiences or the taste or the behavior was not akin to it. So this are what we are trying to do as a service failure. And definitely, yes, we have the organization procedures. There are mistakes. Often, probably an ingredient is missing in a restaurant. Probably the audio was malfunctioning in a theater. Probably in a theme park, one of the rides was under maintenance. You name it, and these are the flaws in the organization procedures. You are making a mistake. It is all about employee behavior, be it technical failures, functional failures. As I have said it all together, the action, the omissions of the organization that are against the very sense of that particular service, that particular way of the experiences. So yes, but what is service failure? It's a gap between the needs and the request. This is what needs to be understood. The gap. What is the gap? What was expected and what was delivered. So there's a need and there's a request. Service delivery failure system. I have just cited you lot of example. Probably in a restaurant, if you are going to service food or serve a food, probably it was not done according to the taste of the customer. Probably one of the ingredients to make that food was missing. Probably the size of the food or the value for money was perceived to become completely less. So you name it, we can have it in a theme park, in a sports parks. One of the rides which was supposed to be done probably was under maintenance. Isn't that going to be a problem for the experience of the customers? Probably the customers will not be satisfied. Come to the complete thing. And then we have finicky customers, as in problematic customers are concerned. Customers who are very difficult to please, as that what we call as a problematic customer. Then is unprompted, unsolicited employees action. This might be due to some of the faults, might be because of the inattention that the employee have delivered, or probably that there would have been a memory lapse out there. So whatever, these are incidental incident which is pertaining to an individual who is providing the services and is an employee of the organization. So that is what leads to these service failures. Now, if there is a failure, can we improve upon our service and provide a better kind of feedback or better kind of experiences? This is known as service recovery. Service recovery is perceived probable solutions to the problems of service failure. Probable. It might not be the apt solution, but probably you are trying to make some kind of recovery as far as your reputation is concerned, as far as the service satisfaction is concerned. Grunros 1990 found service recovery to be a service provider response in cases of service failure. Service recovery is also described as doing the right thing the second time around. Probably the first time you have made a mistake. Probably the first time it did not work out the way you wanted it to be. But the second time you wanted the right time. the right way, the right ambience, the right service. That is what the service recovery is also. Now, common example are refunds, compensation, apologies, excuses are some of the service recovery method. Along with this ways of recovery, rectifying the mistakes and serving the customer again is very important. Now, Bell and Regis 1992 perceived service recovery as a well accepted term used to denote service companies' attempts to make service negative reactions to the service failure, probably manage those negative reactions, probably manage those negative manifestation of feedback, perhaps if they can be minimized with service recovery, the second attempt, the discount, the refunds, or probably a promotional avenues to go for a repeat of the service for no extra cost. Kelly and Davis, 1994, defined service recovery as a service provider response to service failure, perhaps. That is what we look into it. Essential of service recovery management. What are those six essential things that is required, that is done for recovery? One is attribution, owning it up. If there is a fault, own it up. Apologizing, not only owning it up, perhaps apologizing to the guest that this was a fault on the part of the organization. This at least caresses the ego of the guest to a certain extent. Compensation, definitely yes. Refund, discount, promotion, completely free, making the service completely free is what we are looking into it. Then comes the empowerment. This is where you are empowering not only your customers but also the employees who are delivering the services. Now, what happens? Imagine in a restaurant or any service industry, it is an individual who is supposed to serve or provide the service to the client, and the individual will come to know that the service has not been done to the optimum result or optimum delivery. You should always empower the service, empower that employee to ensure that there are no negative feedback, there are no complaints. So as a result, the employee can be empowered to give a straightway discount without any question asked, or let's say make that service completely complimentary, completely free for the customer. This kind of empowerment is done, and this will not only help the employee build or defend the reputation of the company, perhaps also satisfy the customers that things have been looked at a very minute details. So empowerment is very important. Employee behaviors, probably yes, we need to rectify the behaviors of the employees in case of any misdeeds. And the recovery action, as in the follow-up actions to whatever went wrong, that is very important. So yes, attribution, apologizing, compensation, empowerment, employee behavior, and recovery action is what we are looking for to it. It takes six dimensions of service recovery. First is the communication, refers to the frontline employee, the employee who is in transaction with the customer, ways of addressing the customer to lodge a complaint, probably acknowledging it. Empowerment refers to the level of authority in the hands of employee. Did I just give you an example where the employee who is providing the service should be enabled or empowered to give a discount, make it complimentary, get for refunds, whatever the cases might be, in case the employee feels that there is a lacuna in the service delivery. Feedback refers to the process of providing information about a problem which has been registered by the customers. Atonement refers to the act of apologizing for the convenience caused to the customer due to the service failure, as well as providing the compensation. Explanation refers to the act of clearly stating the reasons behind the service failure. Tangible refers to the physical proof of service, like the appearance of the employees, the communication style of the employees, the service equipment, and the physical environment of the outlet. Now, this is what we are looking into: the tangible, the explanation, the atonement, everything adds to your service recovery mechanism, or probably the effectiveness is done by out here. How do you communicate? What was your empowerment? What was the feedback? How did you elaborate your process? How did you attain the satisfaction of the feedback in a positive fashion? How do you recover the tangibles that has been associated out there? So customer commitment and loyalty is of utmost premium. This is what we are all looking for it in a service industry. The degree to which the customer is committed to your organization determines his service recovery effectiveness expectation. So there's something wrong with the customers as far as the service delivery is concerned. Does he take services business from the organization, or does he or she comes and continues to uh, get the service from the organization, barring those one or off incident? That is what loyalty is all about. It service quality, service recovery expectations tends to be higher in case of a higher perceived service quality. That is what we need to understand. If your expectation is higher and if you deliver it, people are into the wow moment. Failure severity, higher degree of severity of service failure contributes to the level of increase in terms of expectation, service recovery expectation. I'm talking about it. So failure severity, you can have a small nitty-gritty failures here and there, but if failure is of severe quality, severe degree, you completely fail to deliver the service to the customer completely, probably because of some of the faults that might akin to the organization technicals or the personal thereby. Now, that would be a very difficult for you to understand. So yes, in a restaurant, the food was served, the ingredient was missing. Probably you can manage the show somewhere down the corner, or the size of the food was not up to the mark, probably. But if the complete food is missing and the customer expected to purchase a particular dish and that is missing from the menu altogether or from the kitchen altogether, that leads to a lot of discontentment. Service guarantees, A is expected to fulfill this express guarantee related to the procedures followed in case of specific failures, and the service guarantee may increase the recovery expectations too. Now let us understand the types of service recovery. First is psychological, very important. Are considered the recovery attempt of showing concern with the customer. It's not of compassion. Now we're talking about empathy. You are completely going to empathize with the customer as to why he or she is feeling in a particular fashion. Empathizing and apologizing are widely accepted the main psychological technique to be used in cases of service recovery. Tangible compensation, which is both tangible and intangible, as in both real and perceived damages, will help it to you. So it's a free visit next time, complimentary, making complimentary visit this time, this particular experiences. Believe me or not, this remains a providing a fair compensation. The mere fact that you're making something complimentary either for the next visit or for this visit, this is perceived in the eyes of the customer as being fair to the delivery, as been acknowledging the fact that there was a delay, there was a failure as far as service was concerned. So advantages. Why do we go for service recovery? First and foremost, your loyalty remains the same. You would love to maintain that loyalty. You need to build customer loyalty altogether. A fan following of your product, of your services, of your establishment, of your organization will ensure that the operating expenses are taken care of without any fuss. Increasing customer satisfaction, definitely yes, loyalty is akin to customer satisfaction. Greater customer retention, again a fact, remains all about loyalty. Developing a higher repurchase intentions, probably this is what we wanted to go around. Every time a customer is loyal, every time a customer is retained, every time a customer visits your organization, your outlet, he or she is going to make a bigger bill, bigger purchases every now and then, bigger services altogether. So positive customer perception, generate positive words of mouth, increased profit as the case might be. This is what we are looking forward to. CRM, customer relationship management. Let us talk about the CBA, the cost benefit analysis. CRM to the organization, increased revenue and reduced cost. To the customer, simplified buying process and friendly services lead to superior satisfaction, and that is what we are all wanting to. Isn't it the case? To the organization, what the CRM means? A greater return on investment, ROI. To the customer, what the CRM means? is an opportunity cost to ensure that you get a better services, better product, better experiences every time you go around it. So we have benefit of service, CRM benefits, more inflow of revenues, or probably more facilities which can be extended to the customers as the case might be. Now, customer recall management. Now, what are we looking into it? It is all about winning back the customers who are dissatisfied with you, who are disillusioned with you, who have reduced their business interaction with your company. Now, this is what you are recalling management. Recalling them, it is adopting a specific management process consisting of analyzing, action, and controlling. Understand why people are shying away. Understand what is making that is not clicking as far as the businesses are concerned. So, can we have a recall management, or probably can we have something which will attract the customers? So, to avail your services. So, in order to recall the lost customer, what do we do? The marketers may have a personalization strategy, visiting the customers, acknowledging their fact, giving an irresistible offer. That is what is done by differentiation, an irresistible offer, differentiation strategy. This, why do we go for those personalization strategy, the personal attention? An irresistible offer is a differentiation strategy which is not applicable to across the organization, across the outlet, only because you want to make the customer delight, or only want to ensure that customer has been pampered for. That is the customer delight approach, as the case might be. Service recovery paradox is supposed to be paradoxical effect where a product failure ultimately leads to increased customer satisfaction, producing the level of satisfaction even greater than the expectation with no product failure. Now, what happens is you have gone to an establishment, your organization, for a service, and probably you get completely a different kind of service. What does it lead to? Some customer might not be completely agreeing with that thing, and it will be a vociferous violation of the agreement. But then there are other customers who might actually avail or enjoy that services, whether it is absence of services or a different services which you do it. Now, this is service recovery paradox. It is a complete changes. Let's say I went to a restaurant, ordered a food, ordered food from this thing, and there was this suggestion that the food was not available out there. Instead, the server decided and recommended another dish. Now, this dish was served despite my apprehension, but once I had the dish, I completely enjoyed it. Now, this is what service recovery paradox is all about. It. Despite failure, my satisfaction level does not dips but enhances. The service recovery paradox is more likely to occur when the failure is not considered by the customer to be severe. Did I just give you an example? The customer has not experienced prior failure with the firm. The same dish was never ordered prior, despite that being available. Why? Because I was very focused with what I'm used to. The causes of failure is viewed by as unstable by our customers, probably erratic, once in a blue moon kind of scenario, and the customer perceive that the company has little control because of the cause of failure. Why? Because the main ingredient in a restaurant might not be available in the market altogether, so you cannot put the blame onto the restaurant. So that is what service recovery paradox is all about. It the failure is considered by customer, not considered by considered to be severe. The customer has not experienced prior failures with the firm. The causes of failure is viewed as unstable by the customer, and most importantly, the customer perceived the company had little or perhaps no control over the causes of failure. Now, this is what the switching cost is all about. It and why do we go around it? See, because of pricing, because of inconvenience, because of core service failure and service encounter failure. So these are the reasons why you switch from one organization to another organization, from one outlet to another outlet, from your organization to your competitor, because of high pricing, because of unfair pricing, because of inconvenient location of your outlet or inconvenient timing of your operation. It's because of the core service failure of either of billing or of catastrophic service mistakes. or they're otherwise indifferent encounter failures, as in uncaring, impolite, unresponsive, unknowledgeable, whatever you call it. This is the reason why you go around it. So, how do you negate those things? Is to how do you respond to the service failure, the negative response, the no response? What comes with the competition? Can you live up to the competition? If not, again, there would be switching cost. Ethical problem is it, are you hitting below the belt? Involuntary switching, probably the customer moves because he or she wants to experience all varieties that is available in the market, perhaps. So what are we known as customer recall management, customer relationship management? It is the operational versus analytical person. Look at front office is the personnel who are interacting with the customer on a day-to-day basis. The salespeople, the marketing system, the customer service system. Vis-a-vis the analytical office, which is known as the back office. Back office is all about data management, about the customer. These people have never encountered the customer, but knows the data points that the customer is generating every time. And how do you utilize those data to your benefit is data mining is all about it. So that is the difference between the customers recall or relationship management vis-a-vis operational and analytical. Operationals would be the front end interacting with the customer. Back end would be the data about the customers, everything about the customer taste, preferences, and so on. With this, I come to an end of this presentation. Thank you for watching this video till the end.